Sidharth Nath Singh ji, you just heard Asauddin Owaisi there. You know, the trust deficit is so huge. Would you be able, to possibly tell our viewers on what is this scheme, or what is this survey rather, that the Uttar Pradesh government has ordered on madrasas across UP, which is a time-bound survey, which clearly has created a huge amount of trust deficit and a controversy?
Well, the idea behind this survey is to improve the education system in madrasas. Now, there are aided and unaided madrasas, and certainly in order to improve any educational system in any form, you do need to have a kind of a survey or statistics to suggest what is available, what is not available. For example, now the biggest source is the money which comes into any educational system. Now, from which source it is coming, or source doesn't really mean that one is looking at the illegalities towards it. Source means whether there is enough money to fulfill, whether you do need the benches, do you need the blackboards, do you need ceiling fans, do you need the tiles in the schools, do you need the toilets in the school, the teacher-student ratios. So a lot of things comes into it, and therefore the first step is to have a survey. It's a time-bound survey, and from there then you take it up, and the government then comes forth. And this is the government of Yogi Adityanath and BJP, which wants to improve the educational system and the standards even in madrasa. So that's a step forward, and that's the basic idea of the government.
You just heard Asauddin Owaisi as well, Mr. Sidharth Nath Singh. I was speaking to him right before you, and he has called this a mini NRC because he says that neither the state nor the centre funds these madrasas. What is the business of serving these madrasas? Survey your own schools.
Well, there are two things. Well, first, I don't really know, Mr. Owaisi, understand what is NRC. NRC is for some, the purpose is very different of NRC. And here, it is to aid the schools or the madrasas. Now, Mr. Owaisi should give a formula where or he must admit in the first go that all the madrasas which are unaided or aided, they are doing extremely well and they don't require any help. And Mr. Owaisi's party is going to do everything which is required to modernize these madrasas. First, you can't do that. Now the government is coming forth. You do need help of the state government. The state government wants to help to improve the educational system. So you do start a survey. Now, to make it into a complex affair, to politicize, to communalize, to make a Hindu-Muslim divide, I think that's Mr. Owaisi's style of doing politics, which has no bearing on this survey. And the government intent is very clear. The government wishes to improve the educational system, system in the
Sidharth Nath Singh ji, Mr. Owaisi also said that under even the Madarsa scheme by the Uttar Pradesh, crores, or even the centre, crores of money still hasn't been given to the Madarsas. On top of it, you are now conducting a survey on Madarsas in Uttar Pradesh, which as per him is completely in conflict with Article 30 of the Indian Constitution, which says that you are allowed, or the Muslim community is allowed to make their own schools and run them.
Well, I think whether he's a lawyer or not, but I always thought that he is a lawyer. That's my understanding. But the Article 30 does state the minorities are guaranteed right of education like other, religion or languages under any languages. But this is not an absolute right that has been given under Article 30. What it means is that the right which is given have certain reasonable restrictions. The word is reasonable restriction. And reasonable restrictions does apply here also to the minorities unaided madrasas.
Sidharth ji, what Owaisi ji also said was the fact that, see what happened today, you have asked for a survey on all madrasas in UP. 2 days ago, because there was 1 or 2 people who had a terror link or alleged terror link, as per the ISI, there was a report in Assam, and you bulldozed the entire madrasa, raising suspicions on what your plans could be on these madrasas that you are serving in UP. You did so, you bulldozed a madrasa 2 days ago in Assam.
Well, if Mr. Owaisi did speak about Article 30, and if he understands is very clear, apart from being absolute, right being given under Article 330, 30. But again, the question comes: under Article 30, you do need to acquire a land. You can't have an madrasa or any educational system built over a land which is illegal, or it's on the let's say it's on over a park, or it's a government property. So these things are restricted for any educational system, be it under Article 30 for the minority or be it for anybody else. So the law remains the same in that case. Yes, you have the right of education under Article 30, that is being guaranteed, which is not absolute. So these are the certain things which he must keep in mind while he is speaking, rather than creating a fear psycho, which he tries to create among the Muslims. There is nothing of that sort. The only idea is how to improve educational systems in madrasas.
Sidharth Nathji, the question which is now being raised is, at the back of what you're saying, what if there is illegality found? What if some of these madrasas, and there are over 16,000 of them if I'm not wrong, that your government is going to survey, what if some of them, let's say, are part built on illegal land? That's the fear, because the fear is that the UP government could exploit that part and then bulldoze these madrasas. Will bulldozers roll at the back of this survey or not in UP?
Again, please. Well, that's a very unfair, statements and a fear psycho that's being created. The idea is that you need to live. One is, firstly, you must have education systems which are up to the standards, and that's what the government is doing. And you try to legitimize it so that there are no problems towards it. The idea is not to take the children out of the school, but yes, to put them back into the school, and that's our endeavor. Put the children back into the school. They can study irrespective of caste or religion, and they get the best of the education so that they can go ahead and compete in this competitive world. So that's the basic idea of the state government.
Sidharth Nathji used a very correct word. There is a fear psychosis, which is making many feel that this is a direct attempt of the Uttar Pradesh government to close down these madrasas.
Well, I think I have very explicitly answered all those questions. There is no intent to close down. The only intent of the state government is to improve an educational system which is lacking in many aspects, so as to impart an modernized or competitive education to our children. Again, I say, irrespective of caste and religion.
Sidharth Nath Singh ji, बहुत शुक्रिया. Thank you, sir, for joining us this evening.